Hello everybody. Today in the Direct Sales Resources video series, we're going to go through what's the best direct sales software in 2020. My name's Christian. I am the co-founder and the Chief Product Officer of Direct Sales Resources and DSHero. I'm going to go through and talk through some of these products that help a direct sales company do their job and do it well. Now, just a little introduction and reference, right? So if you're a direct sales company, your goal is to get as much product out to consumers as possible, right? And if you're going to do that, you're going to need a lot of direct sales reps. Now, the problem that we see with a lot of aspiring direct sales or door-to-door sales companies is that once they get beyond a single location or single office, they might have a very good leader that can do well with 10 or 15 or 20 sales representatives, but once they get beyond that, it's really hard to scale without the right software solution. So we're going to talk through the top 5 or 6 products on the market that we've found and give you some pros and cons and what works well and what doesn't, and hopefully enable you to make the best decision for yourself. So starting off, we're going to go down the list. We're going to start off with Spotio. Spotio is a great product. It's been around since 2014. Spotio is a company based in Dallas, and they were one of the first to market with a direct sales application that was really user-friendly. It was a native application. People were excited to use it. They were able to track their leads mobilely, mainly for residential, but also I hear for business to business as well. A lot of door-to-door companies have used them or use them, and they're just overall, they're kind of like the benchmark for the industry. Now, some of the things that we like about Spotio, they have a very good team and very good customer service from what we hear. What we don't like so much is that they have some issues with their technology. Since it has been around since 2014, we've heard that it can get laggy, it can get buggy, that data can get lost, that it's just not as user-friendly as it once was, and maybe that has to do with the fact that they've scaled over the last 6 years, and maybe their technology is starting to show its age. We don't know the specifics behind that, but what we've heard from customers that we work with is that Spotio is just showing some weaknesses in areas that just aren't acceptable to customers at this point. I'm sure this doesn't apply to all customers across the board. You might have a different experience with Spotio, and we'd love to hear you share with us in the comments what it is. But we found that as we go through the list, there's more newer products out there that are definitely worth taking a look at. Next up, we have SalesRabbit, and SalesRabbit launched in 2016. They've grown very quickly. They're based in Lehigh, Utah, and I would imagine, and based on the salespeople, the folks that I've known or met at SalesRabbit, they just have a lot of deep connections in the door-to-door sales industry, especially companies like Vivint, companies that do alarm, pest control sales, satellite sales that are based in Utah. They really work well together. So they've built a product that really works for them. They do some great things, like if you need to do a customer credit check, they do some pre-qualifications. They give you what's called their data grid service. It's very an in-depth product, as well as some of the newer offerings that they've launched, and it's very well supported. Now, one of the things I will say, with SalesRabbit is that it can be very, very pricey. If you get the full shebang out of their package, you're talking close to $60, $70 per user, which for a startup company or a company that doesn't need as many of those features can get really, really expensive. So that's something that you want to be aware of when you're working with SalesRabbit, but overall, they're a pretty good company to work with. Canvas is a new company that's worth mentioning. They launched in 2018, and they've done a lot of things similarly to Spotio. I would say that's probably the company I would compare them with the most. They do a good job of your lead mapping and your lead tracking. Their tracking boards are very good. Where they are somewhat weak is they do provide just kind of a bare bones minimum features. And for some companies, this can be fine, but we've also seen that their pricing is still fairly high, around $40, $45 per user from what we've seen. Now, also, these prices could have changed since when we published this article, so if they have, please forgive us. Feel free to put a post in the comments letting us know what may have changed if you have personal experience with any of these products. But we're just giving you a kind of a rough, 10-minute explanation of what is out there on the market and what to be looking for. Next up on the list, SalesForce. So SalesForce is a huge company. They do a lot of work with business CRMs. I mean, they work directly with a lot of enterprise companies, anywhere from AT&T to the city of New York, right? So they basically work with big customers, helping them manage their data, manage their leads, manage their accounts. This is like your all-in-one CRM if you need to change the world with one piece of software. Now, for some people, that's really attractive. You can make SalesForce do whatever you want it to, and that's part of the appeal. Now, what is a big challenge with SalesForce is the time to implement, which I would say on average from the customers I've spoken with is about 6 months. So it's a fair amount of time and energy to implement, as well as cost. 9 times out of 10, I would say most companies use an outside integration company. So they use a third-party contractor to help them set up their SalesForce account so that it has all the features and it works for them. And then on top of that, the per month, per user fees are pretty expensive. You have to pay for what you get. So it can start off as low as $25 per user, but most of the time when you start adding on the plugins and the extra features that you really need, it can go upwards of $100 to $150 per user per month, which adds up very, very quickly. So, between the time and the expense, Salesforce is a great option, but it's a huge commitment and you really have to know that it's going to work for you. And I would say I haven't talked to any customers that have said that it doesn't work for them, because it's such a well-rounded service that you basically have anything that you need on Salesforce. But what most customers lament is the time and the expense. And that's really where it kneecaps a lot of smaller companies. A couple other options that are worth mentioning as well. I wouldn't say these are big options at this point in the game, but I know people that have tried them. So Zoho, it's a very interesting choice because they have a system that is equivalent to Salesforce in some ways, but with a lower cost. There's lots of modular plugins. There's lots of features. You can build custom apps. Anything that basically will work with your own custom workflow, you can build. Now, they don't specifically do geographical mapping. They may have some plugins that do that, but essentially anything else with your business process, whether it's filling out a form with a customer, tracking your payroll, tracking your sales reps' activities, you can do that through Zoho. Now, same issue that comes with Salesforce. The time to implement and the cost of integration can be high. You still have to do a lot of things manually yourself. The benefit and why some people have chosen it are because the monthly fees tend to be less. Instead of being $25 to $150 per user, they're typically going to cap out right about $25 to $30 per user, which on a cost basis, that's very attractive for some people. Another choice that's similar to Zoho in some ways is Microsoft Access. Microsoft Access and the Microsoft suite of Office products, they're starting to become much more of a cloud-based company. And a lot of people think of Microsoft as just your desktop apps, Excel, Word, Access. They are starting to become much more of a cloud-based company. There are some great things that you can do with Microsoft Access or the Microsoft suite of products in general, but you have to have somebody that really knows it very well, is very comfortable. And then again, just like Zoho, there is not a dedicated mapping function built into Microsoft Access. They do have Bing Maps, which is a great tool, but you have to do a lot of custom implementation to make that work if you're primarily trying to track door-to-door sellers or the like. Badger Mapping is a good software that we found. It operates off of Google Maps, which is great. We love Google Maps. They are primarily geared towards business customers. And one of the things that they do that we didn't particularly like, although we did like a lot about their software, is that they only allow you to add 23 new leads per day. And I believe this has to do with Google's limits. They use the Google infrastructure. Google does have some limits on the data that you can import on a daily basis. We found that for our field sales representatives, that just wasn't a good fit. We needed to be able to import a lot more leads than that. And the cost can be fairly high. It runs anywhere from $50 to about $90 per user for Badger Mapping. Now, last option that I want to talk about is DSHero. DSHero is our own proprietary in-house software developed by Direct Sales Resources. And we developed DSHero really to address a lot of the flaws that we saw with other software out there. Just like we listed, there's some great things that you could do with pretty much any of these software packages, but there weren't any of them that were able to do everything that we really wanted them to do. And primarily what we wanted them to do is have a single platform that would manage leads, commissions, and even be able to do some training and some other items as well. Now, why is having a single platform important? In our minds, having a single platform is very important because sales representatives don't need to be, especially if they're out in the field, whether they're doing B2B sales or door-to-door sales, or they're doing in-home sales where they're doing presentations, they don't need to be bothered with multiple logins to find the information that they need. They want to be able to have everything at their fingertips, where they need it, when they need it, and within one application. And so DSHero we programmed specifically for that purpose, to be able to get access to anything that they need within 2 clicks, maximum 3. And we were able to accomplish that goal with DSHero. And we find that makes it a very, very effective software. So one of the things that DSHero does well, we're going to talk about the lead mapping functionality. It is tied together with Google Maps. So the Google Maps functionality is built right into the app. You could track all of your weekly commissions on DSHero. So you can get commission statements. You can track overrides for up to 7 levels of management. You get to track invoices for any sub-dealers or sub-companies that you have working for you. And this enables you to really save a lot of time and save a lot of money on back office staff, because a lot of these tasks are automated. You don't have to have tons of people supporting this in the back office, and that's great. On top of that, there's custom support built right into the software, so if any of the users have any questions, they can ask a question right on that, and they'll get an answer within 5 to 10 minutes. So custom support is very robust. And then also, last but not least, there's a built-in resources page, so you can add whatever training resources that you want that can be accessible directly from the DSHero application. So these reasons are why we believe DSHero is the best direct sales software in 2020. You can also click on the link to read the article if you'd like to read more about it. If you'd really like to see more about DSHero, we'd invite you to do a 14-day free trial. Do a demo with us, see all the features, see how it'll work for your company, and then we'll plug in the details for you, and you can kick the wheels, give it a test run for 14 days straight with no money down and no money at stake, because we really believe in the product, and we believe that we'd love to have you as a customer and give you the opportunity to try it out. So that's it. We're going to wrap this video up. Thanks for listening, and we look forward to allowing you to see how DSHero works and can fit for your direct sales company. Thank you.